Good evening and welcome back to Cruising Off Duty. I am Craig. Well, if you watch the channel, you know I'm getting a lot more into emergency preparedness. Of course, when I'm on my sailboat, I'm always trying to live off the grid longer with solar panels and all that. So it sort of dovetails with what I've been talking about with home emergency preparedness. In this time of world strife, at any moment, we could lose power. Have you ever watched that movie that just came out, Leave the World Behind? That is definitely something that could happen. And if that's the case, you need to have solar generators, solar panels, whatnot, to keep some of those everyday kind of need to have things charged up. This is a Browey 600. Now it's called the 600, I think, because it actually has 614 watt hours of battery bank, because I thought it was a 600 watt inverter built into it. But I'm looking at the website and it says 700 watts with a surge capacity of 1200 watts. So I'm guessing the 600 I've seen is listing based on the battery size. And I gotta say one thing, because I have had people say in the comments when I've reviewed, any number of these solar generators I've reviewed lately, that it's not a solar generator, it's a power bank. And I'm like, well, no, it's not a power bank, because a power bank implies you plug it into the wall, charge it up, and when you need it, you use it. Then when you need to charge it, you plug it back into the wall. A solar generator has an MPPT controller built into it so that you can charge it from the power of the sun for free, right? Instead of plugging it into shore power. But they'll always argue, well, the solar generator doesn't generate any power on its own. And I'm like, yes, but it has an MPPT controller. You just need to connect it to solar panels. Just like on a gas generator, you need to add gas for the gas generator to actually generate any power. This is the first time that that argument can be put to rest, because this is, and then, for those people who didn't like the other ones being called solar generators, it is a solar generator because it has its own built-in solar panels. So like I said, 614 watt hours of lithium iron phosphate batteries. I've talked time and time again about the benefits of lithium iron phosphate. Go back and watch some of my other videos. The word I'm going to use for this right off the bat is very utilitarian. It has its own solar panel built in, great. It has only its outputs on one side. There's nothing on the back other than that little supporting leg. There's nothing on this side other than an exhaust fan to blow out the heat that's built up. And like I said, then there's this leg. The leg is it's no clicks. I wish it had some clicks, because if you're on a smooth surface like this table, it always will default to the furthest out setting. On ground outside, like I will show you in this video, you can obviously, with resistance, like on an asphalt driveway or on grass, you can set it to whatever height you want. And that is important. As you're going to see in this video, this time of the year in Canada, the sun is very low in the sky, and you definitely need it almost as high as this thing can stand for you to get the proper angle perpendicular to the rays of the sun. So I have tested it full capacity, drained it, full capacity, drained it, to see what the capacity rating is compared to the 614 watt hours. And let me run that footage right now so you know. Okay, I'm testing the capacity again on this Browey. I'm using it to charge this 24 volt battery. Again, I've got it on the lowest setting, so it's about 97 watts. So we'll see how much capacity it ends up having. Okay, drained it at 584 watt hours. So there you go, there's the readings, very acceptable. Let's go into the shots I've done outside showing how the solar panel works, and an added feature, you're not just stuck with 30 watts and 30 watts only of solar. You can plug in, and I was plugging in this Bluetti back here. There's a 200 watt Bluetti folding solar panel behind this AllPowers. That's, well, that would have also been a 200 watt. But anyways, I was using the Bluetti and it worked perfectly. And something to keep in mind, the 30 watt, when you plug in a solar input into the 5mm import port, it actually adds on top of what you're getting from the 30 watt. Let's roll that footage and then we'll talk about the pros and the cons of this after we're done that. Okay, today I'm testing this 600 watt solar generator from Browey that comes with its own built-in solar panel, which is very cool. It is quite small in size, therefore not a huge battery bank, but it is lithium iron phosphate. And yes, it does come with this bucket of salt included. They just ship it with it. No, I'm kidding. The bucket of salt is there just because I can't use the fold-out legs, because unfortunately I live in Canada, and believe it or not, this is noon. The sun is so low in the sky that even if I try and stand this at its absolute highest setting, it's still not accurate, and that's why I've got the soup can. I tried to the best of my ability to do the soup can test to make sure that the solar panel is perpendicular to the sun, and that's about the best I can get by leaning against this bucket. And I've been getting about 27 watts, I think. I don't know if you can see that now. But that's not bad when you're factoring in that the total panel size is 30 watts. So there you go. Unfortunately, that's what you can deal with in Canada. Just showing you the sky. It is bluish, but as you can see, there's a bit of a haze in the sky. It's not a crystal clear blue day. A little bit of humidity or something in the air. Okay, so there's the legs. Now, I don't know if I can do this with one hand. That's the fully extended leg. I guess that's probably a little flatter than 45-degree angle, but this would be more like a midsummer kind of setup. And then you can, it's harder with one hand, but you can kind of lift it and the leg will follow you in. And that's, you're getting pretty close to, that's the maximum you can go while the leg is almost dead straight up and down. But like I said, when the sun's low in the sky, that's about as tall as you're gonna get it. And if I do the can test, you're going to see that's not steep enough. So there you go. I would need it even steeper than that, and that's why I was using that bucket of salt. Okay, I'll probably touch on this in my pros and cons at the end, but just so you know, it's a very small screen with very small white LED display printout, and I can't see it at all almost in the sun unless I get my eyes right in front of it. It says I'm bringing in 24 watts. Again, I could adjust this a little bit better. Not big enough. You gotta get your face real close to this to be able to read it. It's not bright enough. You can barely see it in the sun unless you get, again, right down close. If you have it on the ground, you're down on your hip or your belly like I am right now just to see it. I mean, you could put this up on a picnic table or something to be a little higher. But still, to read this, you need to be right up close like this to see anything, which is just not acceptable. In modern standards, they need a bigger, brighter screen. Even if you had to put it on the back somewhere else that you could see it from a distance. There is a display button that if you press it, it is kind of nice. It's easy to turn the screen display off. Oh, no, actually, never mind. When it's not getting solar panel in, the screen can go on and off just by one press of the display. I guess when the solar's coming in, it just stays on. And then you got your output, your 5mm output, 5mm input and two 5mm outputs. And you've got one, that's right, just one AC out and one cigarette adapter out. That's it. That's all the outs you got. Now I'm going to plug a solar panel in just to show you can get solar, a bigger solar from something that's not the built-in solar. Okay, I've stuck this Bluetti 200 watt panel into the Browey, and yes, it did accept it. I wasn't 100% sure if 200 was a little above its specs, but as you can tell, you're not getting perfect sun this time of the year. It's low in the sky, it's going through haze, but let's just get down there. I saw it earlier. Let's see what it's doing now. It's a pain to get down this far. It is saying I'm getting 130 watts. I was getting more a little earlier, so by the time you pick the camera up, oh, I want to see too, if I close this, does it go down? Like, is it only getting solar? No. Now it says 106 watts. So yes, you need to have the solar on this open to get, full both. So when I had it open, let's say 130 watts, I was seeing at least 130 before, with it closed 106. So yeah, it does both solar panels simultaneously. And it did accept a 200 watt panel. So hopefully you can see that. It's getting 130 watts with it open. Again, I didn't do the soup can tests on this, just pointing it generally in the right direction. Plus the Bluetti's not perfectly aligned either. So 130 watts, not bad considering the conditions. Yeah, I was just looking at the footage of the Bluetti. I still had the clips hanging over the front, putting shadow on it. So that probably took away a little bit as well. So let's just see now what it's at. There you go. So, like I said, haven't done a soup can test on this. I can't possibly get this thing to align perfectly to the sun with the sun being so uncooperatively low in the sky. And same with the Browey. When I moved it to this spot to plug into the solar panels, I did not soup can it. So it is what it is. It does show you, though, if you can bring in over 130 watts, you're going to charge this small solar generator really fast. Well, there you go. I'm very impressed, and then I'm very disappointed at the same time. I'm very impressed with the 30 watt panel was getting like 27 watts. And again, sun low in the sky, which means it's going through even more haze of the atmosphere and all that. So to get even 30 or 27 watts out of 30 is damn good in those conditions. In summertime, July, when the sun is directly above us on those crystal clear days, I'm sure this thing's going to get at least the 30 watts that it's rated for. But with solar panels, you almost always count on not getting as much as they're rated for. So I was very, very happy with the quality of this solar panel. I'm very happy with the ruggedness of this case. It is plastic of some sort, but it is a very thick polymer plastic. You know what this reminds me of? I'm a police officer, as you probably know, and I'm almost at my retirement. I'm less than 2 months away from retirement. But in our cruisers, back when I was a patrol officer, they had a laptop called a Tough Book, which had us, you could close it and it was like rock solid. I don't know why it needed to be super, super rock solid, but that's what they put in our cruisers, called a Tough Book. And this reminds me of that. It reminds me of a laptop, the way it folds open. I could see this being more of a military use. It's very utilitarian. It's 10.5 kilograms. So it's, what is that, about 25 pounds? It's not so heavy, and it is easy to carry with one hand. Let me just stand up for a second. It's like a suitcase. You can carry it with one hand quite easily. It's not a two-hand. It's not needed to have two hands to lift it, but it is noticeable. It's not light. Like here's an example. Here's a small solar generator. About the same output, 600 watts of inverter, but 268, if I'm going from memory, like 268 or 300 watt hours of battery. Most of the solar generators are like that, where they have an inverter that's probably almost twice the size of the watt hours of the batteries. Browey, I keep wanting to say Browey is doing the opposite. They're pretty much giving you the same capacity of battery as an inverter. It's allegedly, like I said, I've seen two different specs. I've seen it saying it's 600 watt inverter, and I've seen it say 7 on more than one occasion. So let's go with 700 watts of inverter and 614 watt hours of lithium iron phosphate battery. So very impressive, because it's almost a 1-to-1, and I've never seen that before. Utilitarian in terms of its build quality, grab and go. Again, this is sort of like, I feel like this is meant for the military. It seems super tough. It also seems super utilitarian, where you grab one thing, you get out in a foxhole somewhere, you gotta charge those little mini drones that the Ukrainians are using to drop grenades on the Russians, and they need to charge it afterwards. Well, this would be perfect. This is in the foxhole, you open this up, chargy, plug in your little drone, and Bob's your uncle, you're ready to go. You don't need to have any folding solar panels you got to remember to bring or anything like that. Very utilitarian. Utilitarian too, in the sense that it does everything, but doesn't overwhelm you in any one way. Talking about, like I mentioned already on that footage, the fact that there's only one AC out, one. I think you could have fit another one somewhere. Like you could have put some on the other side, or maybe just as a backup. See this little indent here? Maybe stick another AC out here and here, because that space is kind of not being used anyway. Just something, because you've got a pretty decent sized inverter here, but you only have one AC out. Now, obviously you could just buy yourself one of those computer bar splitter thing, 1 out that turns into 5 out. But it just seems weird that, it's an inverter for a reason, to go from DC power to AC power. So you should have more than one AC out. I don't know if you could have maybe gotten rid of these vents here, or moved the screen up a bit and added 2 more ACs down here. But Browey, if that's my suggestion to you, it needs to have more than one AC out. It does have 2 5mm barrel ports out, and it does have 2 USB-A and 1 USB-C. So I'm okay with the DC out. I'm just kind of disappointed with the AC out. So again, sort of like does the job, but doesn't like blow you away with its features. The other thing that you have seen me say in that outdoor footage, the screen is just so underwhelming is the only word I can think of. It really just shows you a battery at what percent it's at, and when it's running, it'll tell you how many watts are being used. There's none of this countdown clock or count up clock to say how long it's going to be before it's dead based on the charges that's going out, or how many hours till it's fully charged. The screen is just giving you the bare minimum stuff. How charged is the battery? How many watts are you using right now? Or if you're doing solar, how many watts are coming in? That's it. So you're not getting a lot of extra bells and whistles. So who would this be for? And would I recommend it? I would recommend it because the price is good right now. On the American Browey, it's $595. Regular, it says regular $699. On the Canadian one, there's like a $100 coupon off now too. It's almost as cheap, or maybe even cheaper, in Canada than it is in the States, which is weird. But maybe the Germans really like Canadians and they're sending us these things at a discounted price. I don't know. But it's a good deal considering what you're getting. You're getting a lot of lithium iron phosphate, like I said, 614 watt hours. You're getting built-in solar, so you don't need to buy anything else. It is a grab and go type of thing. It is built like a military grade product. So I would say if you are a camper, this is probably the best thing if talking non-military use, for a civilian family. If you said, look, we want to be emergency preparedness, we don't want to spend a lot of money, and we want an all-in-one solution, this is it. You grab this, throw this into your closet when you don't need it. When you do need it, you don't have to think about if it's a grab and go situation, you know, heaven forbid, the Russians are coming through with tanks and we're running for the hills. Yeah, you can grab this out of your closet, throw it in your car, and you're good to go. You don't have to think about, shit, did I bring the right size solar panel for my solar generator? Do I have the right cables and connections and things to make sure that it's the right one? Because I have some solar panels that come with a 5mm out, and I have other ones that come with an MC4 connector out. And then some of the connector cords would go MC4 to XT60, and some are MC4 to XT90. And so if you're just in a rush and grabbing stuff, you could grab the wrong cord and now you don't have a solar panel that connects to your solar generator. That solves this because you do have it. I guess that's one other thing, small thing, that I'm not sure if I mentioned on the outdoor one. I'm not a big fan of 5mm barrel port in for your solar in, because most solar panels come, the folding ones come with either an XT60 plug or an XT90 plug. That's kind of more the standard. So it goes from MC4 to either XT60 or XT90. Very few solar panels assume you're going to charge with a 5mm barrel port. So it just seems like a weird decision by Browey to go that route, and it wouldn't take any more space right here where there's a 5mm barrel port in to trade that into the small XT60 plug, and there you go. Then you'd be more universally accepted with the other solar generators. But that's it. That's it. That's my review. I'm giving it a qualitative 2 thumbs up, maybe a 1.5 up, because I feel like it is good for what it does. Large solar generator in terms of battery capacity, surge capacity to 1200 watts. It's a built-in solar panel. So there's a lot of things to like. I don't love the screen. I don't like having only one AC out. So if you are not grab and go, or going to go hide in a foxhole somewhere to charge your stuff, then I probably would go with the more traditional solar generators that have more information on the screen, a little more bells and whistles, an app. That's something this doesn't have, an app, so you can go in and see a bunch of settings and features and eco mode and all these other things that I've talked about on my other reviews. This is, again, utilitarian is the perfect word for it. It gets the job done without any extra bells and whistles. So there you go. If that's something you're looking for, I think your Browey might do it for you. So hopefully you found this informative and or entertaining. If so, show the channel some love by giving it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel grow. And that's about it. So until next time, this is Craig signing off, wishing you safe cruising.